I can talk about it all day, but my feelings.
Why can you talk about it so easily? Like, I've never met a guy so, like, open.
With this feeling?
Guys, and welcome back to Little Black Book. You know what time it is. I told you guys about Miles and Karen. We're doing a full review this time. We're talking about obviously the fact that obviously, yeah, Karen's kind of mad. And still, I'm not going to lie to you, cuz. Alright, if you guys, you're new to the channel, do me a favor, do yourself a favor. Like, share, subscribe, click on the bell button for notification of the uploads. And for those of you who are attorneys, well, you already know what it is, baby. Mineral gun. Whoo! You got the minerals, you got the minerals. Alright, cool. So, if you haven't watched my part 1, I did a little snippet of Miles and Karen. I did a small snippet, and now we're doing a full-on review, right? We're checking out everything that happened in the actual show. So, with Miles and Karen, we've been watching them for the past few weeks, and many people are divided. I think most of us would agree that we don't particularly think that Karen actually really likes Miles the way that she says she does, or even the way that, you know, she may have said previously in the other shows. I really believe that obviously Karen likes Miles. I think she likes Miles. I think she sees how great he is. But when you're looking through a broken lens, I've said this to you guys before, when you look for a broken lens, okay, all you can see is brokenness, right? If the lens you're looking through is broken, your viewpoint is broken. And until you take that time to recover, and I mean emotionally heal, it can be very hard to get back in the game. For instance, a football player who has been recently injured horrifically, getting back on the pitch, the one thing that's on the back of his mind is getting hurt like that again. And so therefore it can make the person very passive in the way that they enter into rough battle. Okay, and so I'm seeing the same thing with Karen here, that the way she keeps talking at certain points mention the fact that, you know, she's not.
Don't know if we are going to be together in the future. But tonight, I gave him an A++. Will you marry me?
100% sold on Miles, right? At one point she said she's not 100% sold on them just yet. Yeah, she's not 100% sold on them. You know, we'll see what happens. I may be with you. You know what I'm saying? All those points right there and then are telling me you're not sold, sis. You're not sold on the guy. You understand? What's there not to be sold on? The point is, you know, and that's why I said it's not moving slow. Like, I hate when people say, she's moving slow. She's not moving slow. She's not convinced. She's not convinced. Look, when you know you've got a great deal, you secure the thing. Man and woman. When you see it at a shop and it's a great price, you see and it's an affordable price for you and your purse string, yeah? And the thing has come down in price and it's looking like a perfect sale for you. You don't wait around. You don't wait around. You snap it up. Why? Because you see it's a great deal and you don't want to waste no time and you want someone else to come and get it. The problem here is that she doesn't see him as a great deal just yet. She can acknowledge that he's a great guy. He's a good guy. She can acknowledge that he's got great qualities, good loving qualities, but her brokenness of viewpoint towards what a man should be and what she should be to that man is the problem. Okay, like we heard it in the beginning about the emotional man, but in this particular episode there was a problem, right? She said it herself when they were shopping, and I want to go round and come back. When they were shopping, she said something very, very key. She said, I'm not used to an emotional man. Therefore, okay, because I'm not used to that emotional man, all right, I'm not sure how to handle it. You get me?
Like, I've never met a guy so, like, open.
With his feelings?
Yeah.
How'd it make you feel?
It throws me off.
Huh?
You know, she said herself, like, she's not sure how to handle that. And then she asks the question, why are you so emotional? Why are you so open with your emotions, right? And at that point, his body language completely changes. Let's talk about it. Let's get into it. Like, that scene at the shopping mall. Let's talk about it. I've written it down.
The guy so, like, open.
With his feelings?
Yeah.
How'd it make you feel?
It throws me off.
Huh?
You know, she says, obviously, at the shopping mall, she says, obviously, he's never met a guy so open with his feelings. It throws her off, okay? Listen to the wording. It throws her off. What kind of guys have you been dealing with, sis? What kind of guys have you been dealing with? You know what I'm saying? Because at the moment, fam, you, and that's what I said about a broken lens. It helps you to see in a certain way, and because you're used to dealing with that particular aspect of life in that particular way, it's hard to change the behavior, right? And see, then a smile on pay attention. Look at Miles's smile. It becomes very passive aggressive, very very quickly, and it becomes a very like he smiles, but he's not smiling. There's something behind it, right? He's hurt. Yeah, he's hurt by that because now it's like, wait, it throws you off. Why? Like you're questioning me and my authenticity. Bear in mind, remember they've had a conversation previously before this when they were sitting in the bed, and she was telling him, to come correct, basically, to just tell her what he needs. Not only that, come true in it. She wants to see him in his truest form, in his darkest form. And this is biblical. When I say biblical, I mean in the sense of like we've seen this in the Bible. Jacob, okay, a son of Isaac, okay, right, came to get a wife from called Rachel, right? But as the father-in-law, or should say the brother-in-law, whatever, of his mum, okay, yeah, was there, yeah, he brought the first sister, Leah, to sleep with him. But he did it in the middle of the night. The middle of the night represents darkness, it represents ignorance, it represents a lack of illumination, knowledge. And so when you don't have knowledge of something and you go into it darkly, you can make a mistake, right? So I understand Karen's point of view, which is that I need to see your darkness first. You know what I mean? I need to see that you are who you are. I need to see your mistakes. I need to see who you are when you're angry. I need to see you when you get frustrated. I need to see those things. Because all the pretty things you're doing for me, all that love you're showing me, I appreciate it. But y'all gonna change.
Show up as this perfect husband. I don't need perfection. I need to know someone is there for me, but it doesn't mean
you're gonna change. And I want to see what you like when you change. That's what she's saying. I can rock with that. I'm not gonna be offensive with that. Do you know what I mean? I can rock with that. But back to the shopping trip, his smile. He was taken aback by what she said about the throwing off, right? And so you watch his face here again, right? He smiles and then it fades away. It's almost like the Kanye smile. Like that's what he did, right? And his body language changed because at that point in time, and obviously the trolley moved as well, but at a point in time he was leaning on the trolley, coming in, talking,
Night, do I like put it in like a bonnet?
Yeah, I feel you.
Like I like the hairstyle. I know I like it, but I don't know what to do with it.
Yeah,
at night.
yeah.
And then as the conversation got to a point where she said it throws me off, she had the trolley now, and he stood up straight. And then when she mentioned about the fact that, when he mentioned later on about the relationship as well, and I think he was holding the trolley at that time as well. Watch how he's standing firm. The body language is off. The body language is off. He looks like he's taking defense. He feels a little bit hurt by what's being said right now. Do you get me? Yeah. And his responses were very short now. No longer was he saying longer sentences. No longer was he expressing his truest thoughts. No, he was just saying one word. Yeah. Yeah. Right? It wasn't a listening. Oh, okay, I hear what you're saying. Oh, okay. No, it was a yeah.
Handle it yet.
Yeah.
Like this new hairstyle that I got, and I'm like, I don't know how to maintain it. Do I wrap it at night? Do I like
become defensive because he had been hurt? He was hurt what she said, right? He didn't admit it, but it looked like he was hurt. Do you understand? And I think at that point, I think Miles was deeping the compatibility between himself and Karen. I think at that point, there was a thought in his mind. Will she ever crack? I'm thinking at that point, he was thinking, listen, will she ever love me the way I'm feeling her? Will she ever like me the way I'm feeling her? Maybe it's too good to be true. Maybe she really doesn't care for me. Maybe she will never care for me. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we've been seeing this narrative go through the whole season. You know what I mean? Like I said, his sister deeped it, and I'm sure she had a conversation with him after. And you know what I mean? And that obviously was what led to the conversation in the shopping trip later on, when he asked about intimacy. But going back on ourselves, when they obviously have to talk about their feelings, okay, it was interesting. Got to understand where Miles's patience, kindness comes from. It's a youth. When he was young, the parents split up, and he became the peacekeeper between two parents, and that's the same energy he's carrying into his relationship. And even Karen picked up on it, saying, "Look, you know, you're doing the exact same thing in his relationship, And what I don't want is for you to burn out. I don't want you to then burn out and turn against me. And so I understand the cautiousness of Karen, that until you give me your true darkness, I don't know what you're capable of. I don't know what you're about. And so all this goodness you're giving me, all this kindness you're giving me, it's nice, but you may erupt one day, you know what I'm saying? And that's what she doesn't want, right? She doesn't want 5 years down the line you tell me you got a baby with another woman, right? She doesn't want that sudden surprise at the end. Do you know what I'm saying?
It's always been a turn off when I feel like it's too much too soon, because then I wonder when
That's gonna end.
yeah. And not to say it will end with you.
You know, she was saying obviously as well, she said this as well, for her it's too much too soon.
It's always been a turn off when I feel like it's too much too soon, because then I wonder when
That's gonna end.
yeah. And not to say it will end with you.
His love and feelings are too much too soon. She's not used to that. She's used to the guy that is probably a bit more reserved, hold back his feelings, barely says I love you, rarely says those things, rarely probably even treats her right. Whatever she dealt with in that last relationship, because she said obviously the baby was the final straw. There's a lot of things that were going wrong in the relationship. So I probably think that she's been in a very crazy relationship, up and down, and now you're meeting, you know, sometimes, especially women who have been hurt and abused by a guy, when they do meet a good guy, they almost think that they're going to mess it up, they're going to break it, they're going to destroy it, they're not good enough for this type of love, it's not exciting enough because of what they've experienced. Like, there's a lot of thoughts that can go through a girl's head as to why she's not able to really connect with a type of guy like Miles and almost feel like he's a sissy and a pussy to you, because he's not your traditional male who you've experienced who is exhibiting, I call it, toxic masculinity, right? And so she drops those bars to him, and you know what was interesting was that he said obviously, this is me, like, yo, I'm gonna be this way, like, this is me, like, I'm not changing, like, I'm gonna always be kind, I'm always gonna be loving, I want to do things.
As we continue to grow, and my feelings for you continue to grow, I think that in time you'll see it only gets better.
For you, do you know what I mean? That's just my nature, and just like his sister said, you know what I mean? So I think Karen's just trying to find holes in his story and say, you keep saying you're gonna be like this, but I'm wondering if when you're gonna turn, when you're gonna really show me the dragon inside of you, unleash the dragon. You know what I mean? And so before that as well, before that little question time when they spoke about how much they love, it was interesting as well, body language wise as well, because at the beginning of the conversation, Karen's talking down to him. She's looking down. It gets to a point where she asks him about his family. I want to know a bit more about your family, da 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 da. And that's when he sits up, and then now he's looking down at her. So it's interesting that obviously their levels were dictating who's in control of the conversation. And I think Miles does that by complimenting the individual person, by allowing her to do that. Maybe she doesn't like that though. You know what I mean? That she likes leadership, so maybe that's the kind of thing she doesn't like. It's those kind of little minute changes maybe that she doesn't want. She wants in him to show that leadership. I don't know. I'm just saying. I don't know. And then obviously, you know, we saw earlier on obviously that in the very beginning, you know, Miles is like taking leadership by going, look, do you know what? Your car broke down.
Tripping lately. And normally it's the thing that her dad would take care of. But I was like, you know what? I got this. You know, you can see the hood. Fix a couple things in here, right?
I know you said your dad will normally do it. Let me do it for you, right? Masculine energy. You wanted it. He's doing it now, yeah? But I would say, again, fixing a car necessarily isn't masculine. It's just something that has been attached to masculine. It's just been attached to males the whole entire time. But that's because we've excluded girls from going into... We excluded women from driving. We excluded women from learning about cars because it's a masculine thing to do. Not necessarily. It's a job at the end of the day. And everybody has a car. Everybody should learn about the car mechanics. But again, it's another sign of masculinity for Karen. Do you understand? Yeah? And again, the friend mentioned it as well.
Right, yeah, he's the best chef I know. And so wanted to bring him in and teach us how to cook a little something because like you like to cook, but so nights that you don't want to cook, I'm able to cook something for you that's like... You
know, it's interesting as well with Miles' thoughtfulness. I think his thoughtfulness is feminine energy. And I say feminine energy and not in the way that he's a female. But in the sense of that, you know, what is masculine, what is feminine. Like I always say to you guys, we have both energies. And you must begin to operate in both to have a successful, healthy, balanced relationship. So when he decides to bring over his best friend who's a chef to help them cook, and I noticed that when he said obviously to help us cook, she kind of looked at her face went a little bit I guess I'm saying, like, listen, I can cook. I don't know about you. But it was like, again, look, it's for us. It's so that when you get tired, I can do it for you, right? This thoughtfulness, I'm assuming she never had this before. I'm assuming she never had a guy think about how she could have her feet up. I'm assuming she had encountered a guy that genuinely wants to take the weight of burden off her shoulders. I'm assuming she hasn't met a guy that really wants to love her in the way that she needs to be loved because, yeah, of the way that she talks about Miles's behavior, okay? And so, you know, throughout obviously the cooking, I love the fact that she was actually enjoying it. She enjoyed the cooking. She enjoyed the time with him. She enjoyed spending time with in his presence. Loved watching him cook, and they were having a banter as well. Again, right?
How did it feel for you, like, to sit back a little bit when we were in the kitchen?
It was good. If you want to spoil me.
And eating the food, I noticed that Miles goes into that feminine energy again, that I guess that emotive energy where he goes, how did it feel? Remember, the feel is a feminine energy because the feeling, yeah, the feelings, the emotion, all right, as part of that. So he enters into that and goes, how do you feel? Yeah, trying to elicit an emotive response, yeah, and then he goes on to say some really kind words of affirmation by saying, obviously, what I love about you. Remember, his love language is words of affirmation. He said it to her in the last episode that he would love some of those compliments. He said, what I love about you is the fact that you got a love for food. Now, I don't know if you lot are watching the thing, yeah, but I'm seeing my man put in work cuts, yeah. I know there's a lot of gal out there that would love a guy like Miles, bro. Yeah, that's endearing, loving, caring. You understand? Protective energy. He's just not a prick. Do you understand? He's not a prick. So what I'm seeing is that it's like Karen wants this prick kind of guy, but he's not giving her that kind of energy. Do you understand? The man planned to have dinner cooked and actually learn how to cook for your own sake. Oh, come on, man. Beautiful, mate. Beautiful. But she did go and say, obviously, she did enjoy it, and she does like a man that wants to spoil her, and she appreciates that. But then she drops a bar at the end and said, obviously, she still doesn't know if they're going to be together or in the future.
Don't know if we are going to be together in the future. But tonight, I gave him an A++. Will you marry me?
And I said, listen, darling, this is not dating in the dark. Okay, this isn't blind date. Okay, all right, ta-ra, ta-ra. You know what I'm saying? Nice to see you, nice. No, it's not one of those, bruv. This isn't take me out, bruv. Yeah? You're married. Listen to me carefully. If you wanted a date, there are several dating shows out there. This is a get married show. You understand? So understand you are in a committed relationship. This is not, I want to come and see if I can dip my toe in the water. No. 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 You get me? And then she drops a nice little joke at the end by saying, will you marry me? Yeah? And so, obviously, if you guys haven't watched my other review, I spoke about that at the very end scene. So, for me, make sure it's still good. So, for me, watching Karen and Miles, I think, you know, I really do believe that Karen does like Miles. But again, we're seeing in this episode again, we're just seeing the energy and the vibes. Bruv, Mama's putting all the effort in, but we're not seeing the same return. She's not comfortable with the emotional side of Miles. She's not comfortable with the fact that Miles is maybe more emotive than she is, right? And the same kind of territorial behavior where she was like, you know, the kitchen's my area, I want that to be my space. Same thing here as well, right? Same thing here again. Obviously, that was to do with the end scene, but I always say this, that if you want me to drive, get out of the passenger seat so I can do so. And I think Karen hasn't got out the passenger seat just yet. So guys, make sure you like, share, subscribe, click on the bell button for notification of the uploads, and we appreciate you. Stay locked, stay loaded.